looking at who I am today. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Konbanwa minasan. Minatachi konban konnichiwa ohayo gozaimasu. Whatever, whenever, hello. So, as you can tell, I am obviously delirious today. Is something going on with Neptune? Because I just feel extra Pisces today. I don't know. Like I'm barely here. Last night, back in the day, every now and then, whenever I see somebody talk about the zodiac signs and the things that they don't like about whatever sign, it's kind of clickbaity, but anyway. And then they talk about Pisces. They're like, oh, Pisces act like they're so helpless and they act like they can't do this or they can't do that, so other people do it for them. And that was me last night. That was me last night. But my mom's also a Pisces, but she did it for me. I was like, oh, thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, energy oracle cards. Why not? So we're gonna look at the shadow today. Because like the unicorn, the shadow has also been becoming increasingly prominent. So, what was it? I was driving to work today and somebody's license plate had like shadow on it. A few days ago, so last Saturday, the most recent Saturday as of the filming of this, the recording of this. The author of When Shadows Take Form was doing a book reading at the bookstore. And I was like, when shadows take form, what? That's interesting. Also, today we're not doing pure white screen, and this lamp still doesn't do white light. So we're doing chartreuse right now. I would if I could think of hey Siri, turn lamp sunflower. Is that a color?
Okay, the lamp is off.
Okay, that is the opposite of sunflower, but I guess it's nighttime, so they wouldn't be blooming right now. Hey Siri, turn lamp eggshell white. That's like an off white. So.
Voila, eggshell.
See, this is what it does whenever I ask for white light now. Hey Siri, turn lamp light pink.
Okay, light pink.
We'll see. But then the lamp adjusts anyway. Actually, you know what we're going to do? I wasn't going to do this, but I will. Well, maybe I won't. Since we're looking at the shadow anyway, we won't. It's fitting. It fits. So, yeah, there was a license plate that said shadow on it. When shadows take form. And there was something else I don't remember. I can't think right now. But I have the Wild Unknown archetypes, and one of the archetypes of the self is. Hi, Bixby. Can I get a drum roll, please?
I didn't understand that.
Hi, Bixby. Hi, Bixby. What's the point of listening to me if you don't even listen to me? Hello? Do a drum roll.
I didn't understand that.
I'm like 99% sure Bixby has done a drum roll before. Maybe it's because I'm on Snapchat. There we go. Hi, Bixby. Do a drum roll.
I didn't understand that.
Excuse. Okay, well, Bixby ain't giving me it. It's the shadow. It's the shadow. So I'm telling y'all, something's wrong with me today. Like my coworker, she was gone for a week. And she came back today, excuse me, and she was like, I realized that I was blah 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 blah, whatever. And she was she was talking to me and I could not stop laughing. Oh, and I felt kind of bad. I was like, oh, I don't mean to laugh. I don't think I got enough sleep last night. I think that's it. I don't think I got enough sleep. So I'm partially sleep deprived, partially delirious. But it's just me. Oh, snap. Hey, how you doing, Sandra? I mean, an old video will probably be better than whatever I'm doing here today. So, hey, Holly, how you doing? Jupiter 8 degrees Aries, Chiron retrograde 16 degrees Aries. The moon is 21 degrees Aries. Eris is 25 degrees Aries. A lot of Aries, Mars 10 degrees Taurus, Uranus 18 degrees Taurus. Oof, Uranus is getting up there. It's gonna catch up to my moon here. North Node 19 degrees Taurus. The conjunction between Uranus and the North Node is getting tight. But I'm sure Uranus is retrograde, right? In 5 weeks, on August 24th, Uranus will retrograde. So I don't think. Oh, snap. Yeah. I don't know. I can't tell. I can't tell if it's going to exactly conjunct the North Node. It looks like it will before it retrogrades. Venus 2 degrees Cancer, Black Moon Lilith 10 degrees Cancer, Lilith 21 degrees Cancer, asteroid Lilith. Caris 28 degrees Cancer, the Sun is 27 degrees Cancer, Mercury 1 degree of Leo, South Node 19 degrees Scorpio, Pluto retrograde 27 degrees Capricorn, Saturn retrograde 23 degrees 43 minutes of Aquarius. I think she's exact. Vesta retrograde 6 degrees Pisces, Juno 21 degrees Pisces, Neptune retrograde 25 degrees Pisces. Excuse me. So I guess Pluto and Neptune have been sextiling for a hot minute, which is kind of, I mean, I guess any energy can be good or bad. The sun, well, that trine is breaking, or it's weakening. Sun trine Neptune. What's in Scorpio? The node. Oh, it's at 19 degrees though. So, how to Steph? How are you doing? Excuse me. Ooh, I could go for some rain right now. At the park looking for fireflies. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. There is air conditioning once again, so I can stand the heat a little bit more, or the lack of it, I guess. I feel like there's a whole bunch of stuff I was gonna say, but I don't remember. I did. Oh, I need to check my Saturn real quick because I think that conjunction is exact. uh, transits. Here we go. Transit list. It's 0.5 degrees away. Saturn from my natal Saturn, and Neptune is on my natal Mercury. Black Moon Lilith is on my Mars. Oof. But the moon is on my Venus, so it's separating, but that's cool. Excuse me. I've been so yawny today. I could pull a card for you. I already have the archetypes out, so let's see. I'll give it a shuffle and then I'll cut until I get a card. One card for Steph. Excuse me. One card for Steph. Oh. You feel like you're in the in between right now. Is that 26? 1 and 26? Who's at the bottom? Okay. So two cards came out. I don't know what I immediately get from them. It's the mother and the comic. The bottom of one half of the deck is the vessel in reverse. On the other side is the riddle upright. And then we see the womb. Well, I guess what we assume is the womb of the mother with a pearl in it. I don't think I've ever noticed that that's a snake. Excuse me. I think with the vessel in reverse and the mother here, um, it almost just like reads like empty nest syndrome a little bit, and it might just be because your grandson left. Um, but I think it's like it's in the identity of the mother of like having someone to nurture and having someone to care for, um, or just in the closeness of that bond. And then the comic is supposed to be like funny, but it looks like a teary-eyed cat. Okay, so with the riddle or with the vessel in reverse and with the riddle, I feel like all of this it's almost just like it's a space of finding new passions almost, or like finding new sources of joy besides like the more maternal ones. And that's just like maternal in general. And so I don't know if it's like finding fulfillment outside of um, I don't know. I feel like it almost like because the mother can so easily be consumed by so much of somebody else. And it can be easy for the mother or for anyone who's responsible for someone that doesn't have that has a limited capacity or capability to care for themselves. Um, it's like so much of their life becomes about somebody else. But then when that person is gone, it's like, well, it's almost like an identity thing too. Because it's like, who is the mother if there is no child? And with all of the color here, it almost feels a little bit like untapped potential, a little bit. Or it's like there are these things sort of all around, but the cat isn't playing with them or isn't necessarily noticing them. It feels like it's just more focused on the lack or what's missing or what's over rather than what still is or what will be. Excuse me. There you go. Chocolate colors. Okay. I didn't know if I read that right, but I did. Excuse me. No problem. I hope. Oh, chakra colors. Gotcha. I hope you find that thing. It does make me think. I almost wonder if you aren't necessarily given a little bit of time or space to find something that otherwise you'd be too preoccupied to find. Okay, so let's find this shadow. Excuse me, I'm going to pull off the top of the deck. Wow. So the top three cards are all upper 70s. The 70s are, I think it's like aspects of the journey. So 1 to 30 are aspects of the self. 31 to 50, those are settings. 51 to 70 are things. And then 71 through 78 are all like different phases of journey or awakening or something like that. I got the book right here. Let me just pull it real quick. Oh, oh, oh. Come on, book. What does she call them? The initiations. She calls them initiations. The top of the deck, it's 3 initiations. Thanatos is first, and then it's agape, and then it's aletheia. Thanatos, agape, and aletheia. Oof. Okay. All right. Well, they present an interesting picture. Oh, snap. 3 initiations. This is not. It's too late for this. Now I regret not having the light on. I love how I still find a way to be in the corner of the screen. Oh, wait. There we go. Thanatos is death, and Thanatos is the god of death. Like Hades is associated with the underworld, Thanatos is death. Agape is like unconditional love, or it's one of the forms of love. And then Aletheia is truth. So, three initiations. Maybe it'll unfold and make sense after. Oh, and here's the shadow. So, good thing I pulled from the top. So, the castle is in reverse next. And then it's the fault line on the side. So, the fault line is leading to the shadow, which is also on the side. So, it seems like this is going to be a theme. I mean, it's easier to see in Agape and Aletheia how things are like split down the middle. The fault line is split. The shadow, like you got this piece up here and then that piece down there. The other card is the empty room. I almost like it better like that. Bottom of the deck is the dead end. Thank you. It is. It looks like it glows. It looks very. I think it's the way it's illustrated. It looks very neon. Should I pull the bottom three? Sure. So the dead end, the mountain in reverse, and the mother again. The mountain mother makes me think of Goddess Gula. I think it was Goddess Gula. No, or was it Uras? I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of Uras because I think Uras was in the gate with there was the two streams she gave birth to. I think I'm not sure. See, there's something with it. Looks like I need more light. We're gonna do it. 1 second. Where I'm gonna attempt to. Because this isn't enough. Because this ain't enough light. Oh, I was gonna use the other thing. It's fine. Excuse me. Oh, it's an ad. There we go. And then the camera will adjust, maybe? No, the camera's not going to adjust. It just looks bright AF. It's fine. Not the. Maybe it's adjusting slowly. Okay. So with Thanatos, it feels like something is emerged. Like this is a person emerging from some Thanatos, like shattered mirror realm. It's almost like it's emerging out of one, and then the view shifts. I wish I could like show y'all how this is animated in my brain, but it's like it pops out of Thanatos, and then in Agape we sort of like see, like this is the Thanatos over here, and then this is the Thanatos over here. You see how the webs sort of go out, and like this is where these, it's like those webs meet these webs, and so we sort of like see it in between, and it feels like it's supposed to complete. It's like it's supposed to go out of one, you see it in between both, and then it goes into another. But then we hit Alethea. And I don't know if Alethea freezes it or if Alethea is almost like a filter of some sort. Oh, what is happening? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is this? What is going on? This is more than I bargained for. I think I might read it like we got 3 different initiations, right? I think I'm going to read the middle and the bottom as like clarifiers for those initiations. And at least up front, it looks like it makes sense. So for Thanatos, it's the fault line and the dead end. And then you see the hand reaching out in the dead end. I guess there's a few hands actually in this Thanatos card. It feels like the wall at the dead end is about to be like split open, question mark. Is this 49? XLIX. Yeah, that's 49. This is hilarious. It's hilarious that it's 49. So at work, there are these plates that we number, and the number increments every time we use a plate. So depending on what we do, it's like daily, but there are periods of time where it's not daily. Like I said earlier, one of my coworkers was out for a week, and I was working longer because I'm just slow. Um, and so I don't know how, but I did 49, plate number 49, 3 times. And the third time I did it, I was like, I feel like I've already done 49, but I went to go look at the paper and it still said 48. So for however it happened, I forgot to log 49 3 times. So my coworker, she came back today and she was like, hey, like I noticed that you didn't label this plate and I did a new one for today. So she took the number 50. And I was like, wait, like I just did 49 yesterday. And so I looked, and there were 3 plates that I labeled 49 on like 3 different days. So that's why it's interesting that the fault line is 49. 49 is a 13. 13 is death. 49 is also death in the hermit. I was going to pull death in the hermit today because of the 49, 49, 49. The 49ers are a baseball team in America. Right? I'm pretty sure the 49ers is baseball, right? Oh no, or is that football? I don't know sports. Hold up. Let me see. Let me see. Oh wow, I got 15 tabs. Pizza. The 49ers. San Francisco football. Oof, it's football. I said baseball, but I thought it might be football because we have a sports, what's like a heavy blanket? It's not, it's like a comforter, but it's like thick. and there's a bunch of helmets and a bunch of like the Broncos, the Dolphins. They're all on there, and I couldn't remember if the 49ers were on there. And then when I was like, yeah, it's San Francisco football. Shout out to San Fran. Anyway, oops. So, oh, there we go. Thanatos, the fault line, and the dead end. And then in the middle, it's Agape, the shadow, and the mountain in reverse. I feel like this one is easy because Agape is like a form of love, and I believe it's unconditional love. It's like when we love the shadow, this mountain energy goes in reverse. It's almost like it doesn't work against us, it can work with us. Oh, okay. And then we go into Aletheia. It feels like Aletheia is the truth of light and dark and the shadow that bridges in between. And then the empty room and the mother. It feels like in a space that was barren before, now it's capable of harboring, growing some kind of form of life. Okay. That makes sense. This makes sense. This also makes sense. And the book is called When the Shadow Takes Form, or When Shadows Take Form. But shadow in essence is it's intangible. It's not invisible. We see it, but we can't touch it. And we can interact with it in sorts, but we can't physically touch it. I mean, I guess if you, but then you're touching the ground or you're touching the wall that the shadow happens to be on. So there's something. Who was that? I think I was watching. I didn't end up watching. Well, mostly, kinda watching Cindy's North Node Sagittarius video when she was reading that South Node, North Node for the eighth house, second house. I was like, oof. But also, I'm a Taurus moon and rising, so I'm like, that's my stuff. Don't touch it. It's mine. Like, just because I let you use it one time doesn't mean you can come over and use it anytime you want to. This is mine. If you want one so bad, you should probably invest in your own. You seem to use this a lot. I got this for me. But it's hilarious because I listened to that. Well, I watched that part yesterday, and then I was listening to it on the way to work today. And at the end of the workday, my coworker was like, "Hey, do you mind if my boss?" She was like, "Hey, do you mind if she uses your fan because the air isn't working in her office?" And like, I kind of offered it to her, but I thought I'd ask you first. I just thought that was hilarious. I was like, "Yeah, it's fine." I mean, what am I gonna do? Say no? I'm gonna tell my boss, "Yeah, sorry, no, but I'm not gonna let you use the fan that I'm not using right now. That's up in my air conditioned sort of space." But anyway, um, yeah, that happened today. I think I've also noticed. It's fine. Let's not put too much of whatever in here. So that's what this is. Okay. Is that it? I think this. Let's see. The first initiation is Thanatos. Thanatos is again, it's a death. Let's see. We'll reference the book. Thanatos is number 73. So it goes 73, 72, 77. Oh, snap, is Alethea 77? Yeah, because that's Anima Mundi is 78. Yeah, 73, 74, 77. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Thanatos is death. It is tempting to oversimplify death and sum it up as transformation, but the true archetypal resonance of Thanatos cannot be easily assimilated or contained. Death is ongoing and omnipresent, an eternal response to the gift of birth. Witnessing the ending of another being, creature, phase, or stage has deep consequences for the psyche. We are forever changed by Thanatos as it sweeps us under its wings, making us relinquish control in every form. It leaves a mark of ash upon our hearts, signifying we have touched the cusp of the underworld and will return to the land of the living eventually, with more compassion and wisdom to share. This capacity is needed in our world. One who has faced the annihilation of Thanatos can face anything. When this card appears, it signifies an initiation into the underworld. Oh, snap. So, but with Thanatos signifying an initiation into the underworld, with the fault line that, like, with how everything else flows, it's almost like we get initiated into the underworld, and in the underworld, we find a piece of ourselves. And it makes me think of the magicians, and it makes me think of the shades in the magicians. And so, well, shade, shadow. Um, um, we find something of ourself there. Oh, wow. How deep does this go? I still have the energy oracle cards. I don't know if, like, this makes me think of, it was a while ago. It's like when the shadow, it was like a five of pentacles, five of cups energy, and the shadow was outside. And when the shadow is outside, it's susceptible to other shadows and darker darkness. But when the shadow was inside, it was a whole thing. I feel like I can see the image in my mind that popped into my mind when I was reading it, of like a person by a fireplace and a place. But with the dead end, it feels like the shadow was like drowning in the underworld. And so maybe it's almost like there's this part of our psyche that it feels like it just sinks like deeper and deeper and deeper into whatever pit we find ourselves, or it finds itself in. So maybe it's despair, maybe it's a hopelessness, maybe it's whatever it is in the underworld. It probably isn't great, but it feels like when it's cast aside, it just like it kind of almost like quicksand just sinks deeper. Now I love that. Let's get one of these. I love that agape is sort of like in the middle. Okay. So with agape, it feels like it takes more things into consideration. than Alethea. Agape feels like a less harsh division, but in Alethea, it feels like it's either black or white. There's not much in between. And what is in between, goodness. I also love how like there's not a lot of color here. The only color really is in Agape and the mountain. And then there's a little bit of color in the mother. She's got some color. So, but I do want to get an energy oracle card. I feel like the dream I had last night with I don't know. Thanatos. See, it's an initiation into the underworld, and it feels like part of it, part of the initiation, or one of the first initiations into the underworld, is to find that piece of us that resides there, to find the piece that has been sort of forgotten or forsaken or abandoned or whatever. But it feels like, I don't know if it's a separate initiation or if it's still within the same one, but something cracks open that goes even deeper. It might actually be later because it's almost feeling like that's more Agape, or not Agape, Alethea. And that's the third initiation. The second initiation is this unconditional love for self. And that unconditional love for self includes the shadow, blossoming abundance, and the garden and the gate, 3 and 30. Sit in between. It fell out on top of the fault line, or in between the fault line and the shadow. Plants need darkness. Okay. Plants need darkness to sort of like use everything that they get in the light. That's when they create like sugars and stuff. They create sugars in the dark. And so here in the card of the shadow under Agape, it feels like the light and the shadow are merging into the void. It's almost like this is where they line up. Agape is when they line up and they're touching. But now it's like going beyond touching, they're like starting to merge into each other. I don't know if the energy oracle cards are necessarily going to help. I almost feel like these aren't shadow E enough. Hostilities. Is that 25? 26. I was one off. Bottom of the deck is yin yang. So again, that's that. It almost feels like hostilities is just a limit on how much they merge. I've never noticed that helmet before. Excuse me. Oh snap! Somebody said you could turn like. Well, it makes sense that like milk cartons make good. Like you can make them into little greenhouses for plants, for like growing plants. I was like, what? Where's Eve? We're getting the blur. Why is this oud? It makes me think of oud. And the working with yin yang. I mean, I don't know where my little green notebook is, but that's fine. Because the thing about the empty room, when I first saw the empty room, it felt like the empty room wasn't empty. The empty room was like a room with the lights turned off. Or the empty room, it's like the room is there, but the things in the room are out of phase. And so if we turn on the lights or if we get in phase with the stuff, then we'll see what's in the room. But since the mother is here, mother is an energy of birthing or carrying and then birthing. Uh, so with Alethea, because there's the black and the white, it feels like there's a space that we're not using. Or it's like layers. Where if it's full in one layer or in one phase, it's like it's shifting into these different phases and working on these different layers. And it feels like as a composite all together, if you put all the layers on top of each other, they form a picture. But each layer by itself, each phase by itself is also its own thing. What that mean? Oh, come on, that's not fair. Oh, snap. The temple path upright just fell up on top of the mountain in reverse. I'll keep that there. Is that what Mount Sinai? Is Mount Sinai where Moses went to get the 15 commandments? And then he supposedly was outraged by what the heathens were doing and he smashed one of the tablets. So then we got 10. Or did he trip? Not the hospital. Not the hospital. For the biblical Mount Sinai, here we go. Mount Sinai Bible. In the Bible, Mount Sinai is the mountain at which the Ten Commandments were given to Moses by God. In the book of Deuteronomy, these events were described as having transpired at Mount Horeb. Sinai and Horeb are generally considered to refer to the same place by scholars. I love that it has a different name. I love that it has a different name because it feels like it lends to that it's like it's the same place geographically, but there's like different levels. Like there's layers to this. Okay, so Alethea. Oh, it's not. Right, let me flip these over. Alethea. Well, maybe I won't pull a card for truth. I won't pull a card for truth. Envy is at the bottom of the deck. It feels like envy, like it feels like that's the shadow, sort of stuck in its place. Oh snap! Oh, I thought of Semyaza. What was the thought on Semyaza? The single speck of light fell to the earth, and it looked up, and it made me think of the unicorns. I think it was, yeah, it was the unicorns with empowerment and the throat portal that had the light in it, Guy in Awakening that had the portal outside of the time loop. What do I even do anymore? So I guess I feel like I could say go watch Cindy's Sagittarius North Node video because it feels like, at least in part, this ties into that kind of. Well, I think that's something that everybody does. Part of that is something that everybody does to some degree. Um, what does that mean? Maybe it's just like there are two keys to the or two locks for the two keys to the gates and the doors of the innermost self or selves. So it's not something that can be unlocked by either shadow alone or light alone. It's something that requires both to be present. And I feel like this is partially unrelated, but I was watching a video earlier today, and the person, this is just Patrick being Patrick. Um, the person was like, be careful. It was like a love relationship thing. Um, and it was like, be careful of putting someone on a pedestal, because when you put someone on a pedestal, you're putting them above you. And now the Patrick being Patrick, the Patrick that has a little bit more, well, quite a bit more self love and self, that has worked on the self, is like, I can put people on a pedestal and them not be above me because Patrick puts Patrick on a pedestal. So if Patrick is putting someone else on a pedestal, now we're on the same level. I feel like that only works if you're not considering yourself. Just because you pedestal someone, just because you can acknowledge the whatever of someone else, doesn't mean that you see yourself or anybody else as any less. Like, that's not how this works. That's not how love works. That's not how appreciation works. That's not how worth works. But for a lot of people, worth is comparative and value is comparative. it's not anything that's sort of like based within self, because we're always comparing. That's how we know. But it's like when it comes from the inside, like you're a really good swimmer, the other person's a really good runner, and I'm a really good sitter. You know, me acknowledging that you can run a lot doesn't like, and it reminds me of an interaction I had with somebody, and I called them like a mentor or a teacher or something, and then they were like, "Oh, don't sell yourself short like that." And I was like, "I'm not selling myself short, but I am acknowledging the things that you have to teach me. But just because you teach me certain things doesn't mean that I'm dumb, less than, stupid, behind, whatever. Like that's not how this works. We all have places to grow. We all have strengths and weaknesses. You know what I mean? An acknowledgement of a strength or acknowledgement of a weakness is by no means indicative of where anyone falls on any kind of metric, unless you're using those specific metrics of like running, swimming, flying, jumping. Then yeah, like you're a better jumper, but maybe I can like run faster. It works out anyway. Anyway. Have a good night, Steph. I hope you get to feeling better. And so, where does that fit in exactly here? I don't know. It's just something that I caught. It's just my ego being my ego. Well, it's just me. It's just how I feel. I know a lot of people, but I guess that's the thing. It depends. It depends on where we're coming from, where we're going. Because sometimes people will, like, it is a thing that people do. People will pedestal someone and be like, oh my gosh, you're so this, you're so this, you're so that. And I'm not, you know? They'll like lower themselves in sort of a comparison game, but that's not like it doesn't have to be that way. You know what I mean? Anyway, Semyaza maybe. I'm grateful to Semyaza for teaching me. It's like through seeing Semyaza, it's like I remembered that pride isn't always like egocentric or like massively egocentric, and how important pride is. Like we should be proud of ourselves. And just because it's like other people's self-worth, games, woes, worries, whatever, like that's not our business. It's not our job to make ourselves less than to make other people feel comfortable. Maybe for some of y'all it is. It ain't mine. And it's like I don't want to be surrounded by other people that feel like they have to do the same. Like why can't we all shine? You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, some people just need to feel like they're better than others to like themselves at least even a little bit. Conversely, some people, it's like they get motivated to work harder by like people who like doubt them or underestimate them or whatever. It's that whole like I'll prove you wrong type of like for the people that it works for, they find ways to make it work to get them wherever they're going. Different things for different folks, right? So it's not cast judgment. Just like in Patrick's equation, that's not how that works. Anyway, I feel like this is it. I feel like I should also pull. Um, I could pull the occult tarot and the. No, see, I don't want to pull. Well, it is tarot too. Okay, the occult and the angel tarots, since it is like a light dark. I think I will. I'll pull one occult, one angel, and then I'll pull maybe the tarot after the rainbow because I think it has a or maybe not. I'm trying to think of like what's a very good human sort of in between. Maybe the SKT, maybe not. Maybe not. I do get paid for being me. I just don't pay me well all the time. But I compensate myself for being me. Don't worry. I do. I get paid very well. I get paid very well and not well enough at the same time. Feel like I'm flying away. Okay, that's good. I'll pull the top card after I get out the Angel Tarot. And like, don't get me wrong, like I did have a whole phase. Like, go back to 2 years ago. Oh my gosh, was that already 2 years? Maybe like a year and a half. Because like this time 2020, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so fiery. I miss my water. I miss my earth. I'm tired of being fire and air. Sometimes I'll still be like that a little bit, but also at the same time, I've experienced enough of what is not my truth to be over it. You know what I mean? I'm just like, if other people have issues, like that's their problem. That's their stuff to work through. And I can be considerate, yeah, sure, but at the same time, like I'm not gonna go out of my way to like, no. I'm not gonna put myself at detriment just because somebody else wants to stay there or that's where they are. I don't know. Like there was a point in my life where like, yeah, but that point is over. So it's all about moving forward. And to do that, there are still things. I mean, like, also don't get me wrong in another way, like I am still working towards it's been this ongoing gradual process that um like I said, it's ongoing. And it's funny because today I had a realization for what July is and for what this year is and the cards that I pulled for myself. I should have expected everything that like I'm working through right now. Like it was laid out pretty plainly, but I didn't necessarily when I was looking at it, I didn't necessarily think like what do I have to do within me to get there? I just saw the there in the cards. And I'm like, Also, I got a personal reading. Like, it's not something I do. Well, depending on the person, it's not something I do all the time. I mean, I am like pretty quick to be like, oh, pull me a card, pull me a card. But I've also noticed through the different readings I've gotten from different people, I've noticed that it's like different people read different things about me. And I've also noticed that some people, it seems like when they read for me, it kind of pulls on like older energy. So it might be something that I'm still like carrying around. It might be like a remnant of something, but it's not necessarily like super where I am. But I guess the point in that moment is to be aware of it. Cause like there was one thing I was like, at first I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. But then after I sat on it, I was like, wait, like I don't do this anymore. Like this isn't me. But I don't know if I didn't necessarily realize it until that moment. Consciously. Like subconsciously I did. Consciously, not necessarily. But anyway, that was part of it. Speaking of, but yeah, I think sometimes too, it's a whole thing. Like I don't know, I don't want to get too into it. excuse me, but it's something that I noticed. And then we're all human. I'll just say we're all human. And sometimes I think the things that we ourselves struggle with, or the things that we ourselves are working through or still have to work through, um, can be a little bit, I don't know, we're all human. We are all human. Do. King of Swords, Wauaya, the Exalted God, number 11, Master number 1 came out right on top of hostilities, right on top of the shadow. So he's going to sit right in the middle of all of this. It's victory, grants victory and protection from lightning. It's funny because he's holding the torch and the sword. So he is air and fire. Okay. What I like about the torch is, though, I like the illumination of the torch with the excising, cutting power of the sword. Because I think sometimes, especially when it comes to shadow, it can be easy to cut at stuff and not necessarily know what we're cutting. Because it's unilluminated, it's undefined. Like, through perspective and a bunch of stuff, you can make the shadow of something. You can make one thing look like something completely different. You can make it look bigger or smaller. Like, it's all perspective and it's all relativity with the shadow. It's like, how close is it to the light? How far is it from the light? How is it turned towards the light? What angles are, well, it's all like they make a whole thing about it when, you do this is the rock and this is the bird, and it's a thing. And so without that illumination, we don't always know exactly what it is or who it is that we're cutting out. And by who, it's more like when there are things that are ours, but we think it's somebody else's, or when there are things that are someone else's, but we think it's ours. It works both ways. But without that illumination, cognition, and awareness, we don't necessarily know. And I'll just leave that at that. Oh, snap. Oh. So the Occult Tarot is bringing the Ten of Cups, which is number 34. And interestingly enough, the Angel Tarot is bringing the Page of Swords, which is number 12. The King of Swords is the 11. I don't think I'll be able to look at this and not laugh. Because I remember one time I pulled this and I was like, look at this below the nose mask wearing. I'm sorry. Ooh, the Page of Swords, Aya. God the Refuge. Its refuge governs dreams and reveals mysteries hidden from mortals. Reveals mysteries hidden from mortals. Oof. And then on the other side, Furfur creates love between man and woman, creates thunder and great storms, gives answers on divine secrets. So we get answers on divine secrets, and mysteries revealed are hidden, mysteries hidden from mortals revealed. The interesting thing about mysteries hidden from mortals, it feels like the mystery is hidden. Like there are mysteries that we don't even know about. And Aya isn't, the way it's written and the way I'm taking it right now, Aya doesn't necessarily reveal the answer to those mysteries. It's just like, hey, you never thought about this before. And it's like, oh, snap, I haven't thought about that before. Well, what does it mean? And I was like, I'm just here to tell you the things that you don't know that you don't know. And it's like, but are you going to tell me what I don't know? Or are you just going to tell me that I don't know it? And it feels like it's just like, oh, this is the thing that you don't know. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but just know that you don't know. But when we know that we don't know, we can go on a path to find, to seek the temple path. Right there with the mountain in reverse. I'm trying to hydrate more because I have not been doing it as much as I should have. But answers on divine secrets is for the Ten of Cups. Creates love and creates thunder and great storms. Oh, it's down there. I can't read it. Darn it. I never thought I would find a deck that would make me want to use the other book. But it does give a little bit more context on some of these, the ones that appear in both. I mean, I feel like it's pretty good on either side. Thunder and great storms. That might just be what's needed to break through certain things. Excuse me. See, there's something about this empty room. I was looking at the card and I just kind of saw it here. But it feels like in this empty room, like this feels like a face. Like these are the eyes, or the eyes are here to a face, or maybe like this is the one eye. Like there's this giant face that's just like, it feels like we go to the empty room and then it's like this gigantic cosmic being or something, and it's like, oh. But since it's so dark, I don't even know if we would see it, but it sees us. But it all us at the same time, it feels a little like sky decky, like a you like you step out onto the thing and the whatever. And it does make me think of it's a song called Dear God, and there's a line in the song where it's like, oh God, what keeps you out, it keeps me in, or something like that. And it feels like it's like, I don't know if it's like granted an audience. I don't know. Maybe when the light and the shadow come together, the void that's created is the pathway to almost very hierophant, I think, in the Light Seers Tarot. But instead of it being like light, it's dark. Where it's dark and there's this staircase that leads to the spark of the divine that lives within us. And so within ourselves, we can meet the all, or we can meet the creator. Anyway, what's at the bottom of these? The High Priestess, Dantalion, teaches art and science, knows the secret thoughts of all, and can change them. Causes love, shows vision of the world. So here's love again, 71 at the bottom of the occult tarot. You know what I like about this though? It feels like this is the sun, the moon, the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, almost in a Yanusiana way, merging together into one. Ooh, in reverse. In reverse. I got reversals in this deck. I got reversals in this deck. Okay. The bottom of the Angel Tarot is Kaliel. In reverse, it's Justice, number 18, the Invocable God. Justice makes truth known in court, causes innocence to prevail. But it was in reverse. It's so interesting that it feels like there are things that light is not revealing. Okay. Like it's revealing the mysteries, but it feels like there aren't answers that light is providing. And I almost wonder if that's because it can't. Because with Alethea being truth, like there are two sides to the truth. And maybe it's because we all experience truth in a way, separately. Or because with the scales of justice, it feels like something needs to be balanced. Maybe it's just the two keys. There's the key of light and the key of shadow that opens the void. And so both are needed to understand the truth. So one side can't fully give whatever. And maybe that's the thing, because it's like with Haha Aya, it reveals the mysteries hidden. And then Furfur gives answers on divine secrets. So we have the answer and the mystery. If we're missing either one, it feels like it can be really easy to like misconstrue, right? It's like getting the answer to a question, but you don't know what the question is. Like if I'm just like five, and then you're like five, what? Like, what do you mean five? Like 5 days, 5 years, 5 apples, 5 oranges, 5 cents, $5 million added to my bank account overnight in my sleep. What? And purpose is like five. And then we can drive ourselves either A, we can drive ourselves crazy thinking about five, becoming obsessed, like what is five? Five what? Or we can come into it with a certain question, with a certain understanding, with a certain something on our mind, and we think that five is the answer to that thing, and it might not be. And so that's why it does us good to know what we don't know, or to have the mystery paired with the answer, because now we know, what the five is associated with, and we know the answer to the riddle, so we're not just like out in the dark. You know what I mean? And so there are truths of the self that the shadow unsurprisingly hides. I don't know if hides is, it's more like holds. It feels like the shadow holds those things, and when we distance ourselves from, separate ourselves from, what's the word, estrange ourselves, that's not the word I wanted, to dis something, um ourselves from the shadow, then what it holds becomes hidden. It then hides those things, but it's not necessarily hiding them. I mean, sometimes it is, don't get me wrong, but it's like it's not necessarily hiding them in the sense of like that is what it's intentionally doing, more so than It is holding the thing, and we are separating, distancing ourselves from it. And so, if your kid has your keys, and you tell your kid to go to the room and don't come out, and you don't want to hear anything from them, and you don't go to the room, and then you find that they have the keys, and it's like, why were you hiding my keys, blah blah blah, and the kid's like, well, I already had them, and I tried to tell you, but you told me to come to my room and not say anything, so how was I supposed to communicate to you that I have your keys when I wasn't allowed to find you, number one, or talk, number two? So it in a way becomes a little bit self-inflicted in a way. Okay, that's that. Is there anything else? I don't think so. I don't think so. But I'm not too sure. And like light and shadow can be many things. Um, it can be the known and the unknown. It can be masculine and feminine. It can be conscious and subconscious. It can be inter. What is interconsciousness? See, this is another time where when I want like a bridge card. There is a bridge. There is a bridge. We're gonna find it. Hopefully, it's in the deck this time. Because the last time I went looking for a bridge, it was in the box. Oops. We have our fourth initiation, Gnosis. Gnosis is number 75. I thought Gnosis was earlier. And then we have number 38 and number 31. The heart, the bridge, and Gnosis. I think Gnosis is birth. Maybe not. Excuse me. Let's see. I thought it had Latin roots. What am I thinking of? Greek. Oh, it's Greek, literally knowledge. Never mind. I'm thinking of a different word. I'm thinking of what is it? I don't know what word I'm thinking of, but it means like birth. I should have known that gnosis is knowledge, though. Um, the heart. It technically came out in reverse. Look at this. So here's the bridge, right? Here's gnosis. So Gnosis brings something full circle. We do see another half. It's what was I looking for a bridge for? Oh, to see what these energies look like together. I think there is that not Alethea? We see the two triangles together in the middle of Gnosis, like an Alethea. I guess it's like a square if you put it that way, right? And it's almost Mercabic, but the triangle of fire is missing. Like it has the water, but it doesn't have the other one to complete it. Well, it's a good thing that Waya has the fire in the air. Feels like I'm flying away. All right, that is this. I feel like I don't know what I expect when I come live now. I mean, I guess honestly, most of the time I don't have too much of an expectation. I mean, I kind of live life that way. Um, my brain isn't necessarily good at creating expectations for things that I know like nothing about. Like I remember before I went to school, my dad was like, "What do you think it'll be like?" I was like, I don't know. I've never been before. Like I've never been in college before, so I don't have any expectations because I don't know what to expect from something that I've never participated in or engaged in. And he's like, "Yeah, but don't you have any like what?" I was like, "No, I don't. Like I've never done it. So how would I like have an expectation? How would I even know what to begin to expect?" I mean, I guess I can listen to everybody else. Um, Three of Wands procures the love of a woman, tells of things past, present, and future, builds love between friends and enemies. Vol. There's a lot of love sort of being built or whatever. See, that's interesting because in the dead end, the hand was reaching out. Oops. Let me. I'm gonna just keep my lips. I'm gonna keep my mouth closed. I'm gonna keep my mouth closed because there's. I can understand that it's like I know which paths aren't for me by how they make me feel. You know what I mean? Um, or like just like don't make sense to me in a way that like I know they're not supposed to. It's not for me. Um, but I did. It was a few days ago now. It was a day or two after I did that one live. I figured out why I was like finding or feeling that like Dante's Inferno slash Crusade type of energy. And in the rant at the end of the video, I think it was when I unboxed one of the decks. It might have been the one that Eve gifted me. The fairies. Was it at the end of the fairies? where it's like for a while, people have used all kinds of things to differentiate themselves and separate themselves from other people. And they've also used all kinds of things to dehumanize certain people. And religion is one of the things that's used. So it's no surprise that spirituality would be the same. And by that, I mean that some of the stuff that I see floating some of the spiritual circles, to me, sounds like some kind of spiritual jargon lingo way to dehumanize people. And it's like what grows in the cold spot of the heart, or in the cold spots of the heart. I don't know. It's something that's so, it's something that can be so vile, but not even seen in that way. And it's like people do it using all kinds of stuff, like socioeconomic status, race, religion, spirituality, levels of education, like literally anything, to see people as either a less than people sexuality, to see people as like less than people, or to justify all of the whatever that they go through. And unfortunately, well, I mean, I guess to me, it seems like spirituality has found a way to do the same. But kind of sort of like religion, with spirituality, going back to the Crusades and stuff like that, it's like this compassionate divine that you believe in the teachings, like it is taught that they love everyone, but you're doing unspeakable things to people, or you are exceedingly cold and detached from the well-being of people, believing in the same not only believing but using the same divine to justify slash do slash bypass or overlook those things. Like in my brain, it just doesn't make sense. um it's not for it to make sense to me, but the heart did come out, and I forget why. Fault line hypnosis, I forget why, but it's just like that it makes the heart cold. And when the heart is cold, it makes it difficult to cook certain things. I don't know. It's just it's weird to me. I don't know. I don't get it. It's a people thing. It's a people thing, I guess. Like I said at the end of that video, it's like y'all, like, not y'all. Some people will manifest like ending world hunger or something like that. But then it's like when there are people that are hungry, they will actively or passively work towards making sure that those people aren't fed. And it might be like, oh, well, if I had to work for my meal or my food, then you should have to too. But it's like, girl, but like, aren't you trying to like end world hunger or something? So why are you working against making sure that people are fed? Like, I don't make it make sense. We work against our own manifestations a lot of times. And it's in those cold spots. Because then when justice comes in, it's almost like justice can't really say anything. Justice can't really do anything, because it's like, well, look at all that you allow. Look at all that you are cold to. Like, cold does not beget warmth unless you're talking frostbite. And if you're talking frostbite, you might be pretty close to on the way out. But maybe not necessarily in the way you want to be. You know what I mean? Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just like, oof, I don't get it. But I've already said I don't get it. I don't have to tell you again how I don't get it. But that's like, it clicked for me. I was like, oh, it's like because like in history and other things, it's like, we see it, we hear it, especially it's I don't know, it's and then it'd be people who like again, I don't get it. I don't get it. But it's yeah, but like F them, right? Yeah, but they don't matter, right? Okay. Just so cold, so cold. When did we go so cold for one another? That's fine. All right, Angel, I'm gonna start with you. I'm gonna get a final card, and then I'm gonna end this because it's already been like almost 2 hours in that. It's always like 2 hours at least, and it's like never my intention. The Three of Wands. The Three of Wands has come out on the angel side. Look at that. Who is this? It is Sitael. And it's number 3. The Three of Wands, number 3. The God of Hope. It is construction of the universe. Hope with great works and protection from adversaries. Wait. Construction of the wait. Construction of the universe. This is interesting. This makes me think of the Angel of Aquarius, Cambio, I think. Because Sitael's eyes are covered, but the arms are outstretched. So it feels like there's something like from within that is offered. And one of these cards said something about visions, or it was that card that kept coming out. A shared vision, a quickening. I forget the first one. And it makes me think of for we walk by faith and not by sight. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, or something like that. Walk by faith, not by sight. It's very that. Because it's almost like there are many, many potentialities always reaching out. And so if we focus on not what we see, but sort of like it's like we can connect to a potentiality. That's it feels like this is connecting to potentialities. Okay. This is probably another sign for me to stop talking about whatever and reach out for what is or whatever. Bottom of the deck is again a repeat offender, or not offender, a repeat appearer. Lauaya. Or Lavia? Lauia? Lauia? King of Swords, number 11, the Exalted God. Victory grants victory and protection from lightning. Again, at the bottom of the deck. It's almost like, and I wonder if this is in the dark, or I wonder if this is darkness. It's the things that are, oh, it was the shadow. Okay. It's the things that are but can't be seen. And then the Page of Swords is under it. Okay. All right, that's fair. Again. Haha'aya. And who's under that? It's Justice in Reverse. Okay. I guess I didn't shuffle these well enough. It's fine. No, because they're still at the bottom of the deck. So going back, maybe that's in the empty room. And maybe that was like that layering or that out of phase thing. And maybe it's so if it's something that is but can't be seen, there's a dependence on the senses where the sense of sight overrides something else. Sense number one overrides something else. And so we deprive ourselves of that sense in order to feel, witness, or experience the thing that we get in this illumination between these two. I guess I should say it's also my sort of like personal belief. It's like, ooh, ooh, ooh. How do we know what needs to change if we don't sort of see it? And how do we try to increase the scope or impact of that change if we don't communicate it? Because there are many, 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 many things that I am unaware of, and people that I don't even know that, I mean, as a person, I have the genuine level of, or like the general level of care. You know what I mean? It's like no one should have to go through that. No one should have to go through this. No one should have to blah, 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 blah. And just because I don't know those people doesn't mean that, I shouldn't feel some type of way about what they're going through. But again, it's like if I'm not aware of what people are going through, then how will I know? You know what? I don't know. I feel like I don't. That awareness helps us, you know, because now we know what needs to stop or needs to end, or we can just be. I don't know. This is. I don't. Maybe it's right. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's just. It's not within me. It's not who I am. And it's funny because my fortune cookie. I got 3 fortunes today because it was these 2 packs of fortune cookies that were like connected, and there was a fortune in each cookie, and then there was this fortune in between them that was like shredded. It was torn, and it made me think of the Two of Pentacles. But anyway, specifically the Nocturne. Um, but the one in the bottom was a person's character is their destiny, and I was like, ooh, ooh, wait, a person's character is their destiny. I also had another thing I was going to ask Reem about, but I never did. I don't know if I will. I literally just remembered it. It was like a thought for a minute, but then the thought went away. This is too much. Do I got reversals in here? I didn't put reversals in both of these decks, apparently. That's fine. So again, we see the Three of Wands. Oh, bring on all the cards that we've already seen. Out jumps the Three of Wands and the Ten of Cups, Furfur and Voile. Also, the Seven of Wands, Glacia Labolis, which came out the first time I read these. So, Three of Wands, Voile, procures the love of a woman, tells of things past, present, and future, builds love between friends and enemies. Furfur, Ten of Cups, creates love between man and woman, creates thunder and great storms, gives answers on divine secrets. And then Seven of Wands, Glacia Labolis, causes murder and bloodshed, tells of things to come, causes the love of friends or enemies, can make one invisible. It looks like they're both flying towards Voile. They're both moving in that direction. Yeah, I did 3 and 3. That's where that came from. And it was the Seven of Wands Glacial bonus on one side, and it was the Chariot on the other side. And the Chariot took it because it's a major, even though they were both sevens. So it's almost, for me, it almost reads the world is. It's partially the world is where what the world is, and it's partially we are where we are. And it's like journeys, evolution, growth, healing, progression. It's a thing that moves. It's not necessarily what it isn't, but could it be? I don't know. Bottom of the deck in reverse is the Four of Pentacles, who is Valfor. Tempts thieves to steal, serves as an excellent familiar. Number 6. It's the only single digit number. Yeah, so tempts thieves to steal, and that causes murder and bloodshed. But it can also cause love. Well, love is love is people do things in the name of love that, it's another thing. Some gorgeous things are done in the name of love. Some less than gorgeous things are done in the name of love. Some of that love unreciprocated. But because Vol procures the love of a woman, and it feels like procuring the love of a woman and creating love between man and woman, like those carry two completely different energies. And it's almost like it's one of those TV show things where it's like there's something like someone magically procures the love of someone, but that love turns into obsession, and then it gets out of control. And then we get murder and bloodshed. It's that if I can't have you, nobody can. And it's like, okay, whoa, calm down. This is more than I asked for. This is more than I wanted. See, but that was because this is the side that brought answers. Furfur gives answers on divine secrets. It's very almost Macbeth in a way. And I think this is why it's almost coming out on the occult tarot side of things. It's because, or it's like that's the danger of being given the answer with no revelation of the path. Because then it can be easy to sort of take matters into one's own hands and to obtain something through a means that is less than favorable. And then that energy, it's like the same energy that we go after something with, the same energy that we put into acquiring something is the energy that it's going to have when we get it. So if we go through less than savory ways or means or whatever of acquiring it, then when we get it, it probably isn't going to be that great. And it probably isn't going to work out in the way as if we had taken the proper path. It's very like Macbeth. But then it can be argued that it's like, well, he only became the whatever because of what he did. Well, that's just the way it played out in the story. We don't know if there wouldn't have been another way that he would have ended up with that would have caused his wife to not be losing sleep in the middle of the night, getting up, trying to clean herself of something that she cannot rid herself of. But in the daytime, she'll act like she's unfazed. She'll act unbothered. She's very bothered. She's a panini. She's oppressed. She a flapjack. And stuff like that. Maybe going back into the shadow, it weighs on us. And if we don't address it, if we don't face it, if we don't work through it, then it becomes unseen baggage. It fills the empty room. And when that fills the empty room, the mother doesn't have too much space to. It's like that energy sits in the room, and that's like it's like I want something else. We'll do this one more time. It might come out again. We gotta be careful. But that's why it's like, I think the devil energy's greatest weakness is when we know ourselves. And not only, excuse me, not, it's this, everything that came out, that whole process. Um, because then it's like there are no loose ends or hidden whatever that we're not, whatever, you know what I mean? It's like there's nothing to prey on, basically. And that was the thing with bringing the shadow in from out in the cold. When the shadow isn't isolated, separated by itself, when it's not drowning in the darkness, you know what I mean? It's not as easy to prey on. And when it isn't as easy to prey on, we're less easily sort of triggered to react in certain ways. So we get to invite a little bit more choice into our lives. When there are less like trauma responses and stuff like that. So. All right. Last card. Oh. I'll take it. Nope, not taking it. It flipped back over. I would have taken it. All right, last card. Oh, there we go. Oh, five. Literally 5 cards. And this one I've seen. That one I've seen. I think I've seen this one. I think we got 2 new ones. One of them is in reverse. I'm putting them back. It's too many. It's too many. Eve is probably, hopefully, asleep. Feel like I'm flying away. Sure, I'll take these 2. Came out when I was attempting to shuffle, but I'll still finish the shuffle. Oh, okay. The 5 of Wands. Maybe I should have just kept over here. Oh, it's only 1 card. I thought it was 2. In reverse, Cameo, the Fool. Gives understanding of animals and the voice of the waters, answers of things to come. In reverse came. Hold up. I don't have my other book. Darn it. 5 of Wands, Agares. Teaches languages, causes earthquakes, overthrows politicians or clergymen, returns those who have run away. Well, that's something. Oof. Okay. Well, if you're not a politician or a clergyman who corrupt or doing stuff you shouldn't be doing, or if you ain't trying to get away with something, then you'll be fine. Agaris teaches languages, causes earthquakes, overthrows politicians or clergymen, returns those who have run away. Well, running away can, like, sometimes people run away for protection, and unless it's bringing people back into um, situations that aren't safe, it makes it safe for them to return. I would lean towards it makes it safe for them to return because of the clergymen and politicians that get overthrown. But we ain't gonna make this political because that's a whole thing that, again, people are gonna people, and Patrick is not gonna understand it. It's fine. I don't think we see our own contradictions sometimes. But again, it's fine. Who is this? In reverse, the fool gives understanding of animals and the voice of the waters, answers to things to answers of things to come. This is very akashic. Voice of the waters and giving answers of things to come. It feels akashic in nature. Akashic. This reads as very a certain person on YouTube and Facebook. Not in a bad way. It just feels like something that he would pick up on and talk about. Because he does. But that's not my bag. So we're going to leave that there. I think that's the thing about the dark, or that's the thing about the shadow, or that's the thing about the occult, kind of, sort of, in general. Or it can be. It's that it offers answers. But it doesn't, again, it's just like five, or it's like the sun, or it's insert buzzword or whatever here. But it feels like it doesn't always include enough of a context for us to know exactly how it applies. And so what happens is, and I am no different, I may be the most guilty. What happens is we use our own understanding, reasoning, logic, and context to try to sort of make it fit, or to find where it fits. And it feels like it doesn't, it's like it can be truth, but it's like, again, it's just like it doesn't have enough of a context for us to know how it applies most accurately. And so it can be very easy to get the wrong idea. And it can become very easy to, it's to get the wrong idea and to run with that understanding and to have that perspective um, shape our world view. Um, and sometimes it's just it's, again, it's people gonna people, man. I don't know. I don't know. But you know, it's something that we see. I don't necessarily have to talk about it too much, but you know, we'll just say with certain journeys, for a while, there was a certain understanding. It seemed like there was a certain understanding of it, and it was like super whatever. And again, I think when we know ourselves, when we know our strengths and our weaknesses, when we know our shadow and our light, like we know what we're susceptible to. You know what I mean? Or we know when we can push a little bit more than is, thank you, necessarily like there. And it feels like we're just almost like always constantly reaching out for something. Some of us in certain areas more than others. And the thing about knowledge is that it's relative. Relative in a sense of like this thing is more right than this other thing, or that thing is technically correct, or whatever. And so we kind of sort of drift from truth to truth, um, because it makes the most sense out of anything that we've heard before. But just because it makes more sense, or just because it's the thing that makes the most sense, doesn't necessarily mean it's correct. But as people who live lives, what else are we supposed to like have to go off of? You know what I mean? That's why I always maintain I know what I know, I don't know what I don't know, and I can be wrong. And so some of the things I know, I may find out that I thought I knew those things. But for me personally, I don't necessarily have to. I'm just weird. I'm a weirdo. If you haven't figured that out by now. But I love me. I love being me most of the time. Most of the time. I love being me a lot more now than I did before, even though I've always loved being me. I like my brain. I kind of love my brain most of the time when it's working. I love it sometimes when it's not working too, because it's entertaining. Energy Oracle cards. Excuse me. All right, let's go. 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 The bass, the rock, the mic, the drum. Just like my meadow. Oh, number 13, financial constraints. Financial constraints comes out with the Angel of Balance, number 48 at the bottom of the deck, with number 11 behind the 48. 48 is a 12, 13 is a 13, 11 is 11. We got 11, 12, 13, cornucopia. And then 47 is behind that. So, financial constraints, it's not just money. It feels like it is limitations and understanding that arise because of a lived experience. And because of life and lived experiences, there's a certain vantage point, viewpoint, and perspective that we have, that of our own. And it feels like the Angel of Balance. It feels like the Angel of Balance is almost the other side of why justice came out in reverse. Almost. In some way. Or the angel of balance is some kind of assistive energy that gets us to see more, that gets us to see beyond. One of my old college buddies is getting married soon, and him and his wife are traveling the world for a year. And she shared a quote from Mark Twain that I will find and read with you. Okay, Jorlel is not a person. Oof, oof. Hold up, wait, what? Hold up, wait. Girl, wait. Okay. Sorry. The quote. The quote is: travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow mindedness, and many of our people needed sorely on these accounts broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and women, and those in between any of this. The each ethers and ethers. And things cannot be acquired by vegetating. So I'll read that again. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime. So I'm thinking I need another trip to Europe. I told my mom, it's like, I'm on a vacation somewhere. I'm so serious. I don't know where yet. And even like, so this weekend I'm going to a wedding in Chicago. And I'm like, I want to do like a weekend trip. Or even like take a Friday and a Monday. Or just like a Monday or a Friday. Take a long weekend. I know Labor Day is coming up. But if I go during Labor Day, it's like the time is there, that extra day is there, but things will be happening. I might actually plan for Labor Day or Memorial Day. Labor Day. I said it right. I might actually plan for Labor Day because I'll have that extra day, which means I need to. I just like I'm ready to go somewhere. I'm ready to do something. It's fine. It's fine. Angel of Balance and financial constraints. 48. That is death and strength, or death and justice. Is this a justice or is this a strength? 13 is the Wheel of Fortune and the Empress. So if it's the Wheel of Fortune and the Empress, maybe it would be more death and justice. Justice is dead. No. There's something here, again, with that assistive energy. That card, I just pulled it in the Diceology. A displacement replaced. I think it's a displacement replaced. Like something is missing. Something is missing. And it feels like that something. It feels like the something that's missing is very small, but either the balance is delicate enough or its positioning is important enough that this thing, however infinitesimally small, once discovered, once replaced, has the power to shift everything. Because of the amount of clarity that it brings in. Because I don't know if it's like so much of it, there's envy. And I had a feeling envy would be there because, like, that's where the angel of balance sort of is. She made me think of envy. But again, that energy almost kind of sort of came out before. It's like, well, how else would we know that it's missing? Almost. What was I saying? What was I talking about? It has the power to change everything because so much is built on something being up for interpretation. So there are many different interpretations, or there are many different ways to take it. And it's almost like in the absence of that thing, it's not a right or wrong necessarily, because it doesn't feel like it's like, oh, all of a sudden everything else is wrong. It's just, it almost, maybe it's like something that we assume. And under that assumption, there are things that we overlook. I don't know. It feels small, whatever it is. It makes me think of the details card in the Enchanted Map Oracle. Oh, here she is again. The Mother. She's our final card from the archetypes. The bottom of the deck is the Queen. Who in the middle? The Shaman and the Prayer and the Venom. The Venom in reverse. The Prayer in reverse. The Shaman upright. And then the Queen on its side. I don't know, the Queen upright. Okay. So that's that. Thank you all for being here live. I hope you have an amazing whenever you see this. If you're not, I hope you have a better one soon. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And I hope that you don't allow you to continue to go unheard by you, from you, for you. To the stars through adversity. Ad Astra. Ad Astra. I'm mixing up two phrases in my mind. My brain is saying Ad Astra Usque Ad Mala. To the stars from eggs. No, from apples. To the stars from apples. Because it's Ab Owo Usque Ad Mala. Ab Owo Usque Ad Mala is Latin for everything from eggs to apples. I'm pretty sure the Owo is eggs because, anatomy. To the stars. Everything to the stars from apples. What is it? Ad Astra. It's not Ad Astra Abyssosque. That's Genshin Impact. What is it? To the stars through adversity. Ad Astra. I'll see. I'll look it up. Ad Astra Per Aspera. I think it's that one. Yep. Or Per Aspera Ad Astra. Ad Astra Per Aspera. That my brain did not have that. My brain did not have that. It had it in English, but it did not have the full thing in Latin.